All right, excellent. So, welcome everybody to QuickBooks Before and After. And this is our kickoff session to my Great QBO Refresh, which is an opportunity for all of us as a community to explore and celebrate all the new innovations that are happening inside QuickBooks Online. So let me go ahead and get started while everybody is getting dialed in. A little bit about me. My name is Alicia Katz-Pollock, and I am the creator and trainer at the Royalwise Owls, which stands for the On-Demand Web-Based Learning Solutions, and it's our learning portal to learn how to use QuickBooks and Apple products, and it all has CPE. I'm the host of the unofficial QuickBooks Accountants podcast. I am one of Intuit's subject matter experts, so the certification tests and the trainings, all I actually help edit those and proofread those. I've been a top 50 women in accounting from Ignition, a top 10 pro advisor from Insightful Accountant, and I basically live and
Hey,
breathe
Siri, set an
QuickBooks.
alarm for 5 minutes for food. Hey, Siri.
All right. So this is a live broadcast. And when you do have questions, if you are in our webinar audience, I keep looking over here to you folks over here, you are welcome to go over to the meeting chat and put in your comments. If you are watching this on YouTube, go down to the comments and put in your comments and questions there, and I will be sure to come in and answer them. If you are watching this on the Royalwise portal later on, you can go into the class forums, into the Royalwise community or any specific class and ask questions there. And again, I will be happy to help. So this is called QuickBooks Online Before and After, and I'm kind of starting in on this project as QuickBooks Online is in the middle of a big shift into a new platform. They're calling it QuickBooks on the Intuit Platform, and it is a refresh of the entire portal. And people have mixed feelings about it. And so I wanted to actually just take a minute and talk about how we are reacting to this. That when I see people in the forums talking about it. And the truth is like, well, nobody likes change. I'm speaking right now to all of the pro advisors. Right now, you have a muscle memory and you know how to do things and you have your routines and you have this expertise that you've built up. And during this change, yeah, you're going to have a little bit of productivity while you learn where the new things are. But as you're going to get that productivity back, and a lot of these changes are actually going to increase your productivity in the long run. I know that as an expert, whenever I have to stop and step back and see something new, it's not comfortable. I don't have that opportunity to just stand in my expertise. And that actually makes me go, oh, well, shoot, that's how my clients feel about all of this. Um, the, and I forgot to record this. There we go. Okay. And uh, this is an opportunity for me to kind of really get where my clients are at and step back and see what my clients need and express it to them in a whole new way. And so what I'm going to do today, my goal is to show you all the cool things that are in it, to show you where you are, where your familiar tools are so that you can just get over the hump of what's new and then take it from there and then show you some new things as well. So this is going to take me somewhere between a half an hour and an hour. I don't actually have an end time on it. I'm just going to go for it. So the new interface, the first thing that I just want you to know about it is it's kind of the same. It's just looks different. The interface that we are used to actually came out in 2012, and its nickname was the Harmony experience, and it had a blue bar down the left-hand side. And since then, all of the new features that came in were just kind of like put on menus in different places, and you would see things like reporting tools under two different menu items, or the names that they gave them didn't really make sense. And so the interface kind of got cobbled together over the last 11, 12, 13 years. And it was kind of time for a refresh. Also, back at that time, every single website on the internet had a left-hand sidebar, and that's how we got around. And we don't really do it that way anymore. Most websites are not organized that way. I mean, yeah, some of them still are, but most of them aren't. And so we needed a modern refresh, a modern sensibility on top of it. The other thing that I want to say about it is I do hear people say, well, I don't want to use QuickBooks anymore. I want to go and try different platforms. I don't like all this new AI that they're putting in there. I don't want it to take my jobs. But all the new ledgers that are coming out, all of that new ledger software is actually AI forward. And so you would be changing to something that starts with AI and does the bookkeeping secondary. And so we're really kind of at a whole crux in our entire industry and our entire world. And so what's happening with Intuit and the new interface is as much a result of that as it's not just Intuit saying, we just want to change everything for the sake of changing everything. No, it's the company that we believe in and are dedicated to and runs our entire businesses. It's them staying up with the times and the technology. And beyond the interface change, the features themselves, all of the different screens, haven't really changed that much. They've actually been changing those over the last 2 years. And you might have noticed like, oh, the bill screen looks a little different, or different transaction screens look a little different. We went through the whole invoice looking different, and we all kind of screamed about that, but now it doesn't even mean anything to us anymore. And that's been about a year. So the big change here is the overall layout and structure. The workflows that you're used to have not changed. So with that being said, let's go in and take a look at how it all works. So we're going to take a look at the My Menu. One thing, the Create button, the whole left navigation bar, the flyouts, the shortcuts, the dashboards, the icons, and the feedback. So this is how I'm going to start this with a whole tour of the interface. The file that I'm in right now is a sample company. So when you look at the data in here behind the scenes, don't get judgy on me. This is not real data. It's a playground. It's just a dumping ground for testing. So if you look at my negative bank balances, don't go, oh my God, Alicia's a horrible bookkeeper. No, it's just a fake file. So I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner. Actually, let's start with the basics. The first thing is the plus new button is still right there. It's just now called create, because what you're doing is you're creating a brand new transaction. And so that's why they use create. Because, when I write my books, I'm always talking about creating creating an invoice, creating an expense. And so that's why they named it create. Not because I said create, but because that's what we are doing. And so that screen has not changed. Totally exactly what it was. The bookmarks is a place where you can create your own bookmarks. And the way that you can create these is either by pulling up the menus and finding something that you use all the time and then clicking on the little bookmark next to it. That will put it on the bookmarks menu. Or you can be on a specific screen and then bookmark that exact page. I put on the things here that I use all the time, like the chart of accounts and the bank transactions and my customers list, because I'm in there all the time. But I also like to put some of my favorite reports on here. You can see that I have profit and loss by class. So you can add your favorite reports right to the bookmarks. I also have some screens that are a little obscure that typically aren't on the menus that I want to get to really quickly. So for instance, I have here reminders list, because normally when you get to the reminders list, you're going up to the gear and then to recurring transactions and then over to reminders. And so, that takes 3 clicks. So while I'm on it, you can add a bookmark to the page. Right now it's on there, so it says edit bookmark for the page. But I encourage you to find the things that take you lots of clicks to get to and just put them on your bookmarks. And then it's always there on your left-hand side. The next section is the dashboard. And before I get to the dashboard and the rest of the icons here, I'm going to actually back up a little bit and talk more about menus and navigation. When you do log into QBO, it takes you to the dashboard. And across the top, you have these centers across here. And these are the same as the main items that have always been on the left-hand menu. But instead of calling it transactions, they call it accounting, which makes sense because it has all of the stuff that's all kind of the behind the scenes about our accounting. Now, notice what happened when I clicked on that button. It opened up a secondary sidebar right here. And so this secondary sidebar is all of the centers with the flyouts that we're used to, but now it's actually persistent and we can just keep it up there and do our work. And all of these sections are expandable and collapsible. So I can open up expenses and bills, or I can open up the sales and get paid center and leave these open, or I can collapse them and have them available. So this actually saves you clicks because you're not having to go to the left menu and pick something and fly out. You get this persistent menu that you can expand and collapse as needed. When you want to open it up or change sections, you don't have to go back to the dashboard to do it. Also, there's a button right here called My Apps, and My Apps is this sidebar. If the sidebar's taking up too much space, I have a little collapse button right here. That little hamburger will collapse that sidebar so that you have more screen real estate. And then when you need it again, you also can just hold your cursor over My Apps and you get all of those same sections. And I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering my cursor over it. And I can go to pick the next thing that I want to go to. And so that means that you can navigate with just sliding and not actually clicking. So they've renamed these sections instead of centers, they're calling them apps. So that's where to go to get your familiar navigation bar. I also want to point out that you can also pin up to 3 of these centers so that they're right there at your fingertips. You can only do 3 of them, but when I click on accounting, it goes straight to the main accounting center. Let me open up the sidebar again. If I go to expenses, it goes to the expenses overview. If I click on sales, it goes to the sales overview. And then it opens up these panes at the same time. So you can pick any 3 centers and have them at your fingertips. You actually do that down below that little icon right there, and there's a customize button. So here you can pick which of these centers you're in all the time, and you can even reorder them and put them in the order that you want them to be. So that way you can customize these 3 pins to jump straight to those sections without having to go back to the dashboard. So for me, that speeds it up. All right, now check this out. For those of us who are pro advisors and are using QuickBooks Online for accountants, the accountant's briefcase has moved. It's not here up here anymore. It's now over here on this briefcase that says My Menu. And the reason why it's not called the accountant's toolbox anymore is because it's way more than a toolbox. It's actually your own customized menu. Fancy that. So it's broken up into 3 different sections. I've actually been playing with it right now, so I'll show you this in a minute. There's a tools section, a bookmarks section, and a create section. The tools section are the things that we are used to in the accountant's toolbox. Bookmarks are shortcuts, the same bookmarks that you have right over here, but they're on this menu as well. And then down at the bottom, you can also create new transactions right from there. Now, I've been playing with this. So if you look at yours right now, it's not going to look like mine because when I click on the menu, let's get it to pop. If I click on my tools, and then put my cursor over it, there is it's kind of tricky to get up. There it is, right here. There's a customize button right here. Very easy to miss. And when I click on that, I love this. I can't tell you how much I actually love this. So the order that these actually were in originally was create, bookmarks, and tools, but you can put them in any order that you want, like tools on top. Then you get to add what you want to those places. So you can pick your bookmarks for the things you use most. You can pick which new transactions you want to be able to create right from this menu, and the tools. And so these are the um, accountant's tools that we've always been used to. Now, one of the things I saw in the forum is people were complaining that they didn't have the button for new window. Yes, they do. It just wasn't on there. You can go put it on. It's usually actually down here. And it's not on. And if you're one of the people who wants to be able to just duplicate your window right from your menu, you can turn on new window. And if you want, you can pop it right up to the top. And then once I save all of those, you now have literally your own customized menu under my menu, and you can use that new window button to create a new window that easily. Now, personally, I usually create new windows by right-clicking on a tab and choosing duplicate, and then going where I need to go. I also want everybody to know that most of these things you can actually right click on and then open them straight up in a new tab. So instead of changing the window that you're on, you can right click on them and just open up a new tab with the other thing that you want. Somebody is saying that they don't have that customized feature. It's actually kind of tricky to get to pop up. Like I've tried a couple times, and like the you just saw it appear and disappear. So you have to kind of click a couple times, and then the customize button shows up. So I'll put in feedback, and you should put in feedback too if it's not persistent and isn't always there. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you about the navigation. That at first it seems awkward, but you now have an increased ability to navigate it. I also want to point out that there are some changes to it in addition to accounting being renamed to accounting. App transactions is now called integration transactions, so that's a little bit different. In the sales and get paid section is now called sales and get paid. The QuickBooks deposits for QuickBooks Merchant Services is now called QuickBooks Payouts, which actually makes a whole lot of sense because it was confusing about QuickBooks deposits versus other deposits. So QuickBooks Payouts will take you straight to the QuickBooks payments screen. You also have a section for channel payouts, and that's what was called the Commerce Center. I also like that the Sales Tax Center has now been broken out into different screens where it wasn't before. So now you have easier access to the sales tax. Okay, so that is the navigation section. Now what I want to show you is the dashboard. So some people say that the dashboard feels really cluttered to them, but this is really a matter of kind of training your eyeballs for what to look at. So we've already talked about the buttons across the top. Then there's stuff from the business feed, and this is where the AI is coming into place. And it's been kind of making me giggle a little bit because a lot of people are saying, well, I don't want this newfangled AI stuff. But what the AI right now is doing is pulling forward information that you might not have noticed. That when we get going and we're like heads down and we're getting it done for our clients, we don't actually sometimes take the time to look at the health of the company and what's going on for the company. And so what the business feed and the agents are doing is calling your attention to things that maybe you should be paying attention to. So across the business, we're going to talk about the business feed later on, but I just wanted to show you that it's pulling up overdue invoices. So maybe you can get some cash flow by taking care of those invoices. There's a new customers agent that I'll talk about at length. I'll talk about, actually all of these are new features that are coming up, and the view all button takes you to the feed. So I'll show you all the newness actually in a few minutes. Back to the dashboard. The next thing that the dashboard has is shortcuts to the features that you use all the time. So you can just, if you want to create a check, boom, you can create a check in one click. for all those of you who aren't using online bill pay yet. You want to create a new sales receipt? Bam, create a new sales receipt. One click. And when you go to the show all, again, you can customize what action buttons you see there. So you can go to all different kinds of actions and then put them on this list and then reorder them in the order that you actually use these features. So go ahead and customize the actions. I do want to point out that these are per client. They're not persistent across all of your clients. So you have to set up each client individually. And at the moment, that's also true for the My Menus. It's different in each of the files that you go into. But please put in feedback so that we have a choice and we can say, I want my menu to be the same across all my files. Okay, and this My Menu is only for pro advisors. So for those of you who are business owners, you don't actually have this particular menu, but you do have the bookmarks. All right, then on the dashboard, something else new is you can see your sales funnel. A new payment request is essentially an invoice. Then you can see how many invoices have not been paid, how many have been paid, and how many have been deposited. So you can see where your money is, and you can change this date range. Then we go into different charts on the dashboard, and all of these are interactive. So just for sake of time, I'm not going to start clicking around, but literally anything on here will click and either go to that center or that app overview or to a report that has that information in it. And you can customize this dashboard to have the things that you want in the order that you want them. When you're in QBO Advanced, you do get more ability to customize the dashboard, but we all do have those abilities. Here's the icon over here. Here's that one for hiding your financial info, but here's the one to customize your dashboard. And then you can pick your widgets and put them in any order you want, add or remove widgets. And so if some of these you don't need, then you can take them off as well. So that's how the dashboard works. Okay, so that's why there's a little bit of clutter here. They're trying to bring your attention to things, and if you take the time to actually look, then you're going to be rewarded for it. All right. Now what I want to do is point out that there is feedback everywhere in the system. That when you are in any one feature and doing anything at all, like I go to the bank transactions, there's a button here for give feedback. Or if I'm in an invoice, then in the invoice, there's a give feedback in the invoice. And the feedback used to be just under the gear. But right now, because of all of these changes, they want your feedback. They have never been listening as much as they are right now, and they're probably not going to listen as much ever again. This is the time. Now, when you are giving feedback, you want it to be constructive feedback, not just, I don't like the new invoice, it's too cluttered and I can't find anything. That says more about you than it does about the software. If you are actually having trouble with something, you should tell them. So, or you have a suggestion, you should tell them that as well. So, like the new bank transactions feed, I'm not going to go into that in too much detail in this class. I actually have a whole bank feeds class coming up in October that is all about the new banking feed, but there's some very cool things happening in here as well. They're designing it so that you can put all the fields you need in one line so that if your screen's wide enough, you don't have to click and type in the pane, but you can. You can put in attachments from here. You can also put in client requests. If you don't know what what something is for, you can actually ask other users to give you the information that you need for that request. So it's brand new, but that is really, really helpful. But when you do have feedback about it, Then you go up to give feedback, and the give feedback here goes to the bank transactions team. The feedback on the invoice goes to the invoices team. So the fact that the feedback is everywhere, you're talking to the people who are specific to it. And the more constructive you can make that, the better. So, for example, if I go to my dashboard, actually, is there feedback on the dashboard? There's no feedback on the dashboard. I'm going to do this. That I want to give feedback about the menu, about making it persistent. And I don't see anywhere to do that. So I am actually going to go up to the feedback right up here. And so an example of constructive feedback is I love the customizability of the my menu option. But I want it to be the same in all my clients and not have to start over setting it up within each client. Please give us a choice for whether we want it to be the same or not. So that's constructive feedback. That's the kind of feedback that they want to see. All right. So then the next thing that I want to show you are the icons in the upper right-hand side. The task pane, you might not have been using this task pane yet, but it's actually pretty cool. And there is a task center that you can get to through View All Tasks. But when you add a task, what I actually like about this is maybe you have a transaction that you need to review. Invoice needs to be adjusted. This client is being overcharged. And I can assign it to somebody and say what the status is. I'm going to put that it's open. When is it due? I need this done by tomorrow. This is urgent. And look at this. You ready? Everybody's sitting down. Check this out. You can link a record to it and you can pick the transaction. You can search, you can filter, you can find the exact transaction that has the problem and then link the record. And now they can click on it to get to the transaction that needs the adjustment. So this is super cool. You also can put your supporting documentation in the task. And so when I save that, I now have a task and I can see all of my tasks and I can go to the task center and see all the tasks and I can see just my tasks. I can see other people's tasks. It's pretty cool. So definitely take advantage of that kind of like tickler list. Now, I know a lot of you have other task management systems, but the fact that you can put the exact transaction that you need to get to right here is awesome. And when you are doing, if you're in QuickBooks Online Advanced, you can also make the tasks recurring. So you can like actually make your to-do list of all of your weekly, monthly close tasks, and then have them just recur, and then you just boom, 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 go down the list. So check that out. Okay, the next one, this is where the apps have gone. It's called My Integrations. I do see two different icons for it. I see either a plug or I see this kind of like workflowy kind of thing, but that's where your apps are. And if you need to get to the App Center, you go to Find Integrations, and that takes you to the App Center. And if you just want to see all of your existing integrations, you click on the integrations overview. And yeah, mine are all red because I test things out. So that's why you see so many that are right now, quote unquote, broken. So that's where to go for your app integrations are all under one button. The notifications is Intuit telling you things that you need to know. Yesterday it was talking about the September 1st Labor Day deadlines. So, keep an eye on those notifications. And then the gear has not changed. It's exactly what it was before. And then the help is the help. So there's the upper right-hand side. All right. So I just went through the whole bookmarks thing. And all right, so next, natural language search. The search engine has changed. First, it's the magnifying glass that was on the right-hand side is now front and center in the top, and you can use natural language to filter for those transactions. So you can be literally anywhere, but I don't want to be here, so I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And the so when I do a search, I can say invoices for Helena Tosh under $25. And boom, there they are. So that was three different filters, all in one, one shot. And then that takes you to the advanced search screen, which is also available just from right here. But this is one of the screens that I put on my bookmarks because I go to the search all the time. And I'm going to actually rename that and just call it search. So boom, now I have search on my bookmarks and I can jump to this screen anytime I want to. All right, the other thing I want you to notice in the search is that you do have additional filters right here. You can even filter for specific products and services, PO numbers, sales reps, classes, and locations. It's all under this filter. So it's way more powerful for all the different ways that you can do simultaneous searches. So I'm liking it. Okay. Next up is report anomalies. This is the accounting agent that's actually looking at your transactions and calling your attention to things that you might want to notice. And before this existed, what I was doing is running a profit and loss report by month and then scanning line by line by line to make sure that all the numbers were consistent across all the months. And then if something was extra high or extra low, I'd be checking in with my client to see what that was. Now I don't have to do that. It's actually just going to tell me when something is unusual. This right now is not available in, or I don't have it set up in my file, so I'm actually going over to Craig's Landscaping to show you this one. And when I'm in a profit and loss report, I can see this little sparkle. I think that's actually the technical term is sparkle. And it's this little blue icon here. And so when I click on it, it's going to say, hey, wait a minute, your income increased 158% from June to July. So either, hey, they're doing great, or it's landscaping and it's the summer, so it's seasonal and I can see it go up. Or you double counted your income because you brought it in from the bank feed instead of matching it to your sales receipts and invoices, and there's a problem. So I like this because that allows me to either check in and identify that I did something wrong or they did something wrong, or there's something happening in the company that we need to pay attention to. And here's another one down here. There's a miscellaneous expense. I mean, there's no such thing as a miscellaneous expense. So what is it? Okay, 966% increase because there are two large opening balance bills posted. Okay, that's a problem. And the bills from Brosnahan Insurance Agency and Tim Phillip Masonry are the main contributors. So I can download this report and it actually gave me now a working paper that is giving me an analysis of what is causing that number to show up here. In addition to the individual ones in the profit and loss report, and this is in the balance sheet too, you also see up here it says 2 Insights Beta. This is this is everything that's calling its attention. And then you can, as you change things and fix things, you can rerun the analysis. And then if you click on it, it will open up the report. And then again, you can open up the report on it. So I'm finding this very, very helpful. Now, you might have noticed a moment ago that it took a minute to do its thinking. A couple weeks ago, things were, oh my God, so slow. Like I would literally open up a sales receipt and the framework would be there, and I would kind of have to sit and twiddle my thumbs while it waited to fill in, like unreasonably long. But that was a couple weeks ago. This past week, it was still a little slow, and I wound up waiting. But actually, what I did is, I'm supposed to be drinking a gallon of water a day, and so I now have. I don't have my water bottle with me in the studio, but every time I have to wait, I have decided to drink water. So that way, I can make sure I'm staying hydrated, so it's good for my health while I'm waiting. But the good news is that it's getting faster and faster, and so they're resolving whatever was causing the slowdown. My theory was that it was because of the changeovers that they're rolling everybody into this new platform, and that takes setup time. You know, when you download new software for the first time, or you boot up your computer in the morning for the first time and it has to load everything in, that's what's happening during this conversion. So everything is taking a little, there's extra server load while this new um, platform is getting rolled out. And they noticed, and we see it getting better. And so I think a combination of when the whole migration is done with they're probably going to be upgrading their servers and their pipeline for the extra load. So I don't think that this slowdown is going to be perpetual. Okay. So that is the report anomalies. Now, the next section is about emailing receipts, but I'm actually going to back up a little bit because we didn't even talk about the feed yet. The business feed is right here. This, again, little Sparkle. Formal name is, in fact, Sparkle. And when we go to the feed, got my sip of water. Here is what it's calling. So what this is kind of the AI portal right now. And so it's noticing that I have some overdue invoices and giving me an opportunity to kind of review those and start sending reminders about them. There's even when you are in your any of your transactions, let me actually show you this one as well. If I'm in a particular transaction, it will help you. So right now it's helping me create a reminder to send them. But the invoices are also now telling you information about about the customer, and you'll see this actually in your invoices as well in the left-hand sidebar. They'll actually tell you, okay, it's been a customer since 2020. They have 8 paid invoices. They only have 1 late payment. So you can decide, is this somebody who's perpetually delinquent, or is this kind of an anomaly? Maybe you need to check in with them. So the invoicing agent, or what they call the payments agent, when you are in any particular invoice, let me go ahead and open it up, is going to be giving you new information in the left-hand sidebar over here so that you can see information about them, and it'll give you suggestions like maybe you should charge them a late fee. Maybe you should turn on some more payment options to give them more flexible payment methods like Venmo and PayPal. Different things that you can do to get paid faster. I also want to point out that you can, I'll be talking more about this in a minute, but you can actually drop in a file or an image or paste in text, and it will scrape that to create an invoice for you. It's not going to be perfect. It'll probably get the customer and the dates right. It's not doing a good job with line items yet, but it's only version 1.0. So be patient with it as it learns and as the AI starts improving. All right, I'm going to wrap it back to the business feed again. Okay. So it's giving me information about the invoices that were paid. Here's that payments agent saying 40% of your invoices last year were paid late. Maybe you should add a late fee. And then you can turn on late fees for some of your customers. Expenses insights. This is telling me that there's transactions in the banking feed. This is things that are in QuickBooks is the solid green. The hashed green are things that are not yet in QuickBooks. Talks about the profit and loss. And then here, this is the part that I want to show you next is I mentioned that you can now autofill invoices. You can also autofill bills. Now, here's what's new with that. Up in the upper right-hand corner is a little center for the autofill. And you have the ability to autofill for bills, expenses, invoices, and estimates. Now, this is different. Okay. I'm going to click on the Manage Settings right here. And in the Manage Settings, you now have the ability to not just send in receipts, but you can also send in payment notices as well. So, for example, I publish my courses on Udemy. So when Udemy sends me my monthly residuals, I get an email about it. Now I can forward that email into QuickBooks to turn it into an invoice so that when I receive the payment, I can pay down that invoice. So we now have the ability to do income receipts, not just expense receipts. One of the other things that's different, they've changed the email address. If you are used to emailing in receipts, it used to only be able to be done by registered QuickBooks users. They had to have a QuickBooks login. There was a receipts only login in QBO Advanced, but that was kind of limited. And so now the change is that anybody can import the invoices or I'm going to say income and expenses. They can come from anybody. You get a customized email. So if you're used to QBODocs.com, that has changed. It's now assist.intuit.com. But here's my recommendation. You have the ability to edit the email. The email starts with whatever your company name is up here, but you might have a really long or cumbersome company name. I encourage you to change it, reduce it, shrink it, make it simple. And then what happens is that prefix, then there's a plus, and it's plus expenses for the outgoing money and plus sales for the income money, and then at insist.com. So you can save these two email addresses and you can give them to your staff and you can give them to your clients and vendors. So I can give a vendor the email address owls_playground plus expenses at insist.intuit.com, and they can send me their invoice and it will show up here in the banking feed for me to categorize, which is pretty cool. And then it will show up like I see right down here, this new invoices. This is one that was forwarded in for income. And so I can review that and then turn it into an invoice right here. And it'll walk me through the who and the what and what it's for. And again, you're going to have to change things around in the line items. But now I've got 17 details that I need to customize about it, and it will walk me through creating it, or I can ignore that and just create it. But I really like that now it gives me a landing place where I can put in all those transactions. The one warning that I will give you is the fact that there is an anybody can send an expense option. Make sure you keep that email address sacred and only give it to people who you want to be able to do this. If that gets out into the world, then people could email in anything in the hopes that you just have an intern doing the bills and paying the bills and that you won't even notice that it's not legitimate and actually pay it. So I do recommend making sure that you have really good workflow controls and approvals on on these transactions. That's one of the benefits of QuickBooks Online Advanced is that it has roles for approvals and you have to go through an approvals process. So that's kind of in advanced's favor, but if you're not in QBO Advanced, make sure that nobody is just blindly entering these into QBO and paying them. Okay, that's enough on that particular rail. But so there's some good innovations right here. All right. The next part is something that is absolutely completely brand new, and that is the customer hub. You may not see it yet. It's in beta, it's being rolled out. It's essentially a CRM, a customer relationships management center. So this has never been in here before. And some of you are going to go, well, I don't need that, but your customers kind of do. So this does is it connects to Gmail accounts, although they are going to be rolling it out to others like Outlook coming up soon, as soon as it's all dialed in for Gmail. And what this does is it allows you to take a look at the leads that are coming in from email and the conversations you're having with your clients and keep track of it in a CRM method. So let's go take a look at that. So in my apps, there's a new section for Customer Hub, and it's broken down into a customer overview where I can see the number of open leads, open estimates, in progress projects, unpaid invoices, and reviews. We'll get there in a minute. I can see my work requests and referrals. Well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So hold that thought. Let's go to leads over here on the left-hand side. The leads, you can either manually put them in or you can connect your Gmail and it will find them in your Gmail to add them here. And this now allows you to keep track of the conversations that you're having to onboard new clients. So when you get an inquiry, you can track them inside your QuickBooks. And what it does is it allows you to put on an estimated value for how much that contract is worth. So you pay attention to the more lucrative ones first. You can change the status from hot, warm, and cold. You can set the stage. Is it just an inquiry? Is it in discovery? Are you in negotiation? Did you win it or did you lose it? And so that way you can see where people are in your pipeline. And then you also have the ability under the actions to turn them into a customer or to archive it or to view it. And you can also send them an email through your email as well. So it'll send through Outlook and Apple Mail or other clients, but right now it only reads from Gmail. So this part is pretty cool. Customers has now been moved into this customer hub. It's no longer under sales like we're used to. So if you can't find customers, it's why it's under the customer hub. And then take you to this, take you to this magic part is the reviews. So there is a new setting in accounts and settings under sales where you have a post-invoice feedback survey. Now, for you accountant users, you may or may not be interested in this, but this is a great thing to show your clients because they need new customers and they need promotions and advertising. And what this does is after somebody pays an invoice, it will send them an email asking them for work requests, reviews, and referrals. And you even get to choose the frequency of it. And then all of these will show up in this overview area. And I'll show you in detail what this actually means, but now you can see work requests, referrals, and reviews and testimonials. So you can take these testimonials and you can share them on social media or share them with your clients or put them on your webpage and even send them a thank you note. It will also show you well, actually, let me show you the settings first, and then we'll show you how it comes in here. So I'm going to go up to the gear in the upper right-hand corner and to account and settings. So we're all familiar with coming in here. But what's new is in the sales center over here. When I scroll down, here is the post-invoice feedback survey. So what this does is one option is to ask for a work request. And personally, I love this. What this does is asks them, do you want to work with them again? And then they say, yeah, in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months, or yeah, but I already work with them regularly, or no, I don't want to work with them again. But what I like about this is then when I'm going to open both of these at the same time. Let's go back to the customer hub. What that does is it puts in your overview these work requests and then tells you when to follow up with them. And then she said, yeah, call me in 3 months. And so now you can work that into your plan, and now you're upselling to your clients because it's much cheaper to get new additional business from your existing clients than it is to pay to find new clients and bring them in. So the more you can leverage your existing satisfied, happy client base, the more business you're going to do. So this is a great way of reminding yourself to follow up with your clients in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. So these work requests are pretty cool. The next thing that it gives you an option for is asking for a review and testimonials. So it will give them a star. You'll one more time. They'll give you a star rating, and then what happens is based on that star rating. If they give you 4 or 5 stars, they'll be asked to provide a testimonial. And if they give you 1, 2, or 3 stars, they'll be asked to provide feedback so that you can find out why they're not happy. And so that is a great way of making sure that you are providing good services to your clients. It will also, if they give you a 4 or 5 star rating, it will ask them, hey, do you have any referrals? Do you know anybody who could use these services? And I know that for my husband's Apple training, he lives and breathes by those. His clients refer their friends and their family and their kids and their grandkids, and that's the bulk of his business is on referral. Mine is also in a lot of different ways. And so being able to actually suggest to somebody, it turns into either a cold call or a warm call, but you also have those referrals right here on your board. And so now you can send them an email, you can call them, and you can say, hey, you were referred to me by Jadzia Wild. This is what I do. Are you interested? And then turn them into a customer. All right. And the last thing about that is you don't want to pester your clients. So you do have the option of how frequently you want the survey, them to get that survey. Could be once a month. For me, that's too much. Could be every 6 months, every quarter, half a year. Half a year probably is good in the QuickBooks world, but half a year from now, I know you're going to have another question for me to answer. So that's a good frequency for my clients. And I'll save that and finish my settings, say done. And now in the Customer Hub, I have this area to manage all of these leads and manage all of these opportunities for more work, for new clients, and for new promotions. So personally, I think this is pretty cool. Go ahead and put in the comments if you think this is cool. And I think this is something that all of us could use, but it's definitely something that you should share with your clients. Okay. So, um, did you see anything cool in all of this? Did seeing the new menus help you feel more comfortable with the interface? Did you see any new features that you were like, oh yeah, no, that solves a problem for me? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Now let me take a few minutes and tell you what's next. This free training was just kind of an overview of what's to come. And for me, what I do for a living is teach people how to use QuickBooks. And we have a training program called the Royalwise Owls, which stands for the On-Demand Web-Based Learning Solution. And we have over 35 different classes on using QuickBooks Online. And they go all the way from beginner, I've never seen it before, all the way through cleanups and year-end close. I cover literally every feature in the platform. But because I am a CPE, I'm NASBA CPE certified, which actually means that I am required to keep all of my content up to date. So now that there are a whole new interface, I actually have to redo my entire QBO library, which is over 35 classes, and every class is most of them are 2 to 3 hour classes. And so I have a lot of work to do. And what I'm going to be doing is starting on September 9th, I am going to be starting my whole curriculum from scratch in order from beginner to advanced in the new interface. And instead of doing every other week like I've been doing for years, I have to now do it every single week. So I'm going to be doing a QBO class every single week from now through June. And here's an example of some of the upcoming classes just between now and October 14th. So the boot camp, by the way, is one of the best classes that anybody can take, especially since it's in the new interface, so that you can learn your standard workflows, but get used to seeing it so that your brain can wrap around it and we can speed up your productivity. These classes are not just for bookkeepers. They're not just for probably most of the people watching this. They're for the business owners too. These can be taken by your clients. I encourage you to recommend all of this to your clients and get them up to speed, because if you're having trouble understanding the changes, you can imagine how they feel. And so it's a great opportunity to recommend it. So this is the link for the landing page for this new opportunity that I'm calling the Great QBO Refresh, which is joining our community to take advantage of all of the new trainings that are coming out. And so there's a QR code there, there's a link there, and we are actually discounting the community program. We're dropping the prices on our classes because I want more people in them. I don't want price to be a barrier for people. The more people that I can help your productivity and end your confusion, absolutely the better. That's kind of like my life's work and life's purpose. So in order to get more people in, I'm dropping the prices on all of my stuff. So when you go to the QBO Refresh page, we are running a special kind of like a membership drive right now until September 16th, until the day of the boot camp. And you can join as a member and get automatic enrollment into the whole entire series between now and June. We will send you the Zoom link. You don't have to register. You don't have to pay. We're not going to nickel and dime you. And in addition, you also get members get 2 meetings every single month that are general membership meetings where you ask me questions. So you can bring me the stuff that you're stuck on and get your questions answered, not just from me, but the best practices of all the other people in the community. So that's another benefit of becoming a member as well. The portal, our Royalwise portal, remembers your progress in all of the videos. You get all of the recordings as well. So if you can't make the Tuesday class, you can still go watch it anytime. And you can even go log in and say, like, how do I do a corporate credit card? And watch the video that shows you how to do corporate credit cards. Or how do I do a car loan? And watch the video that shows you how to do a car loan. So it's a learning library as well. So I also am the host of the unofficial QuickBooks. Oh, actually, let me just say the last sentence there. So this is a great opportunity for all of you to come and join the Owls. Maybe you just pick one class that you want, like the boot camp. Maybe you want your clients to take the boot camp. You can also join our affiliate program and get a link and get 10% of the prices of whatever your clients are paying, or for yourself as well. And so come check out the refresh page and see all the options that you have. I am also the host of the unofficial QuickBooks Accountants podcast at uqb.show. And there's a QR code right there. And it's a weekly podcast that we started almost 2 years ago. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. Hector Garcia was my original podcast host. He stepped away to focus on Reframe and Write Tool. And so my current hosts are Dan DeLong and Matthew Fulton and Marjorie Remmers Davis. And apparently I'm blocking the QR code. That's not helpful. All right. Sorry about that. So uqb.show, go ahead and note that. Okay. And let's see, what was I going to say about that? So come check it out and subscribe to our podcast because we talk about everything happening in QBO, all QBO all the time. All right. We also have a YouTube channel where we're live streaming right now, and we have a lot of tips and tricks and tidbits, and also a lot of our Apple training is there as well. So come find Royalwise Solutions on YouTube. And last but not least, we also publish a whole lot of books, and we are coming out with a new book as soon as I can write it because Craig's landscaping hasn't flipped over yet. But it's kind of a new version of the textbook that I write for Questiva consultants. So this is the college textbook. The one that you see on your screen is going to be for all QuickBooks users, and there's going to be one complete guide. That's the whole thing. And then we're also going to split it up into just the business workflow fundamentals and advanced bookkeeping topics and just the projects chapter and just the inventory chapter and just the payroll chapter and also a practice set so that you can get some hands-on practice with your files. So right now, the complete guide is on Amazon for pre-sale for Kindle. And then the book will be coming out sometime, hopefully in October. So that was QBO before and after the kickoff for the membership drive for the Great QBO Refresh. Please go into the comments and let me know if this was helpful, how you're feeling. Are you feeling better now than you did when you got here? And what questions that you have. I'm more than happy to answer. This is Alicia Katz-Pollock, and I will see you in the next class.